Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome back to part 3 of the Friday Night Social on the 15th of May 2020. I hope you enjoyed part 1. And part 1 we had a general introduction to everybody and what's going on over the last week. And we did talk about David Silva, so if you haven't seen that, go over and watch part 1. Part 2 was all about Pep Guardiola and the rumours that he could be potentially interested in a move away to Italy. But I think if you go over and watch it, most of us on here feel he potentially might sign an extended contract. But part 3 is we're on to the golden question. And that, as normal, is where we give all the guests an opportunity to ask each of us a question. And it can be on anything. It doesn't have to be about Man City. It can be on anything. So first up tonight is our new guest on the Friday Night Social, and that's Alan over in Australia. He was the founder member of the Melbourne Blues Man City Supporters Club. So Alan, your golden question tonight is what?
It's taken from an article which came out at the beginning of the week regarding the president of FIFA, who used to be the president of UEFA, if I'm mistaken, Infantino, and he's been in court this week in relation to TV rights court. And during this court case, there was a statement made regarding him potentially lying, according to FIFA. And I'll read out a paragraph. It said this: FIFA said in the statement Monday evening that the content of the private email sent to Infantino to a close friend was taken out of context entirely, with the sole purpose of misleading the reader. The email was obtained by hacking, which is illegal and a criminal offence, that UEFA said. The court said not only did Mr. Infantino have no reason to lie in this email, well, the email never indicated that Infantino wanted to blank his name added to FIFA. It's just so coincidental. The exact terminologies and wording is exactly what is going on with the CAS case with Manchester City. Now, if I'm mistaken, Infantino was the guy that actually first sanctioned us in 2014 and also made the agreement of what we had to do and comply to. And it's just so interesting that they're saying hacking is illegal and is a criminal offence. Exact words that they use in the court of law. My question to everybody is, do you think this will benefit Manchester City in the CAS case and can be used by lawyers in that CAS case? And will it benefit us?
Wow, what a good. I mean, yes, I mean, I read that article. And there was other things in that as well, which was quite interesting. Yeah. But it's that's on record. That's on public record. That's what you said there is in quotations. That's not a journalist making those statements. That is words from the actual court of law with regards to saying hacking is illegal and cannot be admissible. And basically, Infantino's got away with it because of a friend of a friend of a friend and blah, 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 blah. And very, very interesting. Chris, what are your thoughts on that, listening? And the question being is that, do you think City can actually now go, whoa, hold on a minute here. Bearing in mind, Infantino is FIFA. But this occurred under the watch, not Seferin's watch. This occurred when Infantino. This was it 2016 this happened? 2015, 2016?
April 2016.
Yeah. So this was going back to under, I think Infantino was UEFA's president at that particular time. At the time. Yeah. So do you think City can maybe look at that and go, well, hey, happy days?
Yeah. Obviously, I think they can use it if they wanted to. However, I think there's one rule for one and other rules for others. We wouldn't be in this position now if it wasn't for the what's the word I'm looking for, Andy? You know, we made a deal with UEFA.
With Infantino.
Yes,
he approved the deal for everything.
And this deal, because we didn't get the kind of sign off that was it, it was all done and dusted. It's come back, and now it's going to bite us on the bum even harder than it has. Or they're trying to make it, a harder punishment. I wouldn't be surprised if City use it, not at all. And it's a valid point for them to bring up. But I think the powers that be and the cartel, probably even more so, will insist that we are punished on this. So I think they'll still go for it. I think that at the end of all this, we'll get a year's ban. That's my thought on it.
So you think there'll be a bit of negotiation down from a 2-year ban to a 1-year ban, and City will do what we did, let's face it, what we did last time. If people are not familiar with it, we basically sort of went, we don't want any bad publicity, let's just negotiate. We're happy to have 5 extra restrictions on us that anybody else has had, blah, 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 just to not sour the name of the club and everything else. You think it's good? We will still end up negotiating and getting a 1-year ban over this?
I think CAS will say that it's excessive ban, and that UEFA will reduce it to a year. I want the club to take this as far as they can. I'd love it if we could get to the bottom of what is really going on at UEFA and with the cartel clubs, because I watched your vlog you did with the Arsenal lads the other day, and you asked them, what is it then that we've been done for? And none of them can answer it.
None of them.
But they all thought we should be punished, and it's, I want this out in the open. I really do. Our club's been besmirched, for even coming on a decade. It's disgusting, and I want us to go out there and really shove it up UEFA. And if they went out of business, I couldn't give a stuff, mate.
Well, I mean, that was the point with the Monday night thing, and it was a valid question that they asked on Claude's channel. I mean, it was a valid question, but it was one whereby I don't comment on things that are happening within Arsenal because I don't follow it. I'm not it doesn't interest me. I'm a City fan. It's like, if it was something major, I'd probably follow it in a bit more in depth. But the fact that you've got 3 Arsenal fans, a Watford fan, a West Ham fan, and 3, not the West Ham fan, but the others are going, oh, ban them, you do this, you should get 2 years. And I just simply asked the question back to them was, well, okay, tell me the 2 charges that we've been charged with then. And not one single person could answer it. And it's like, you're just reading media headlines and regurgitating stuff that you don't really know much about. So how do you have a valid, objective opinion on something and a comment unless you know about it? Now, if they came back with an argument, I might have been able to argue back or go, actually, yeah, that's fair enough, And I said at the end of that, live vlog on Monday night, I said, if we've done something wrong, we deserve to be banned. I'm quite happy with that. No problem with it whatsoever, but not on the grounds that we're potentially getting a 2-year ban on. So. Interesting. You're thinking it might go to 1, but I agree with you. I mean, we should be taking this all the way. Martin?
I think, agreed totally, we should be taking this all the way. And if we fail at CAS, we should be going straight to the biggest court in the world we can and just absolutely exploit FFP for the farcical that it is, really. But do I think it'll have any effect? No. Because I think in UEFA's head, I think exactly what City have said. I think we've actually been hung, drawn and quartered already. I just think no matter what we do, say, I just think they're going to do everything they can to ban us. I've come to the realisation of that now, that I thought maybe 1 year, but like City said, City won't even accept a 1-year ban for this. They are not going to negotiate anymore. They're not going to do it. They, if you remember, They negotiated last time with Infantino. They're not going to do it again because, in a way, negotiating, they're still admitting guilt.
Yeah.
They're not. What this is now is, this isn't about give us a deal to sort us out. This is now to prove our innocence. You know, this is like the court of law where you go, if you plead guilty, you'll get a lower case. That's really what a deal is, what they want us to do. City don't want to do that full stop. They just want to clear our name, and UEFA will not allow us to do that.
Well, we had to do that last time to a certain degree because of the public image. I'll come to you, Alan, in a second. We had to do that because we were a new owned club and all this, you know, blah, 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 blah. We had to do that because we didn't want to be seen as, who the hell are these taking on the UEFA? Yeah. So I think that was the reason. It was a bit of like public image at the time. And, okay, we'll take a 65 million euro and we get 40 million back and we do this and we'll accept that. I think things have changed considerably now where they're going, you ain't doing this to us again. No way. Yeah, Alan?
Exactly.
Yeah, remember that it's CAS that are making this decision, not UEFA. We know UEFA want us banned. We know UEFA want us banned for even longer if they could do it. But it's CAS that will make the decision, not UEFA. And CAS could go back to UEFA and say, you must relook at this case before they make a decision. And
where the negotiation will potentially come back to, because CAS could quite easily be quite weak and go, we're that inundated with cases. Just go back to UEFA and negotiate. And that in the last 6 weeks, I'm starting to think is a real possibility. What CAS might do, they might just go, we are inundated, because it's not about football, it's about every sporting, argument, disagreement, legal case. They are already weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks behind what the hearings before the City case. They could quite easily go, sort the shit out yourself, and then it will be down to it'll be down to UEFA and City to then thrash out a deal. Now, I'm hoping, like Chris and Martin and everyone else, that, and I'm sure most City fans, that City turn around and say to the likes of Seferin, oh, this time there is absolutely no negotiation on the table. You either charge us and we'll take it to the Court of Human Rights and we will demolish FFP once and for all, or we will ultimately be banned for 2 years. We are happy to take that risk. No problem whatsoever. Now it's in your court. If CAS aren't hearing
that is the case. As you know, I speak to a certain person at the club that's quite high up, and that is the case. Siriara was in the Imperial a few years ago when we got the ban, and we asked him about it with the first one, and he said it was all to do with keeping good face with UEFA,
public image and everything else,
all that. Yeah. Now, trust me, the Manchester City Football Club and the people at the top, the directors and the people responsible for all this, I've got no respect for UEFA now moving forward, because they're that angry with them. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so
quick question. Sorry to jump in. Very quick question.
Very quick.
For example, that they do ban us. This is why I think UEFA will try and do it, because I agree with Alan. I think CAS will send it back to UEFA, and this is where UEFA try and negotiate. But this has to be done quick as well, because if they kick us out of this Champions League and then we get the ban overturned, we can go back and go, look at all the lost revenue you've cost us for a season.
Well, it's more than revenue, because if we lose players as well,
exactly. It could be both.
We will lose both. If we get banned, we'll lose players. And it'll be a lot more than that.
They're going to want it done very quickly.
Well, it goes back to the, if KDB decides that 2 years is, I want to leave, blah, 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 then you're looking at your most prized asset leaving your club, which is hundreds of millions of pounds. So, UEFA won't want that. But anyway, just to remind us of the actual question, Alan, I'm going to bring in Ryan. What was the actual question you wanted Ryan to answer?
Do you think that the comments by the court regarding and UEFA regarding FIFA regarding hacking being illegal and a criminal offence, do you think the lawyers would be able to use that in this case against City?
I mean, I'd assume they would be able to use it in some sense. I don't know if it would really count for much, but would surely be able to use it in some form in an argument of some sorts. But
the UEFA
I see
are based on the hacking of emails. That is their whole behind their case is all from the Spiegel, which has all been hacking and as they call it, leaked documents. And is that illegal or isn't? Because if it is illegal, you're not allowed to use them.
Not really. Don't really know much about it really. With the legalities,
they can point in the right direction, but they can't use the wording in the emails and the documents in that court of law. If that gets thrown out, then City are in a very strong position.
Alan, Ryan's more of a stat man and things like that, right? And he tries to steer clear of legal issues and things like that. So I'm going to come to Tom.
Don't pay much attention to it. I
doesn't
tell people to stop believing everything they read and jog on.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
Ryan is very black and white. It's either no, it's not. Yeah, come on, everyone, give him a, which is right.
Give me a
Ryan.
Hey, he's got it. He's here. All right. Well, I'll come to Tom then. Do you think that City potentially could use what's happened with Infantino in a court of law in the appeal with CAS?
I think they will, and they've said all along, and I've said this to everybody, that they will prove them wrong in court. If CAS come round and say, no, we don't want to do this, City will go straight away, fine then, we're taking it to the highest court in the world. They mean business here, they know what they're doing, they've got it all set up, and I can guarantee you the day that court hearing is, Manchester City Football Club will show the world what UEFA are and what we've had to put up with for the past 5 or 6 years, maybe even more. And the guys at the club, they know that it's false. They know that they're out to catch them. And they're going to, if City go down, they're going to take another 5, 6, 7 clubs with them because they know, City know, and they've done the research into what other clubs have been doing as well.
Okay. From an outsider's point of view, Cal, I don't know how much you've been following the FFP stuff and everything else, but listening to what Alan said there about the article that came out last night, which was Thursday night. I have to reiterate, Thursday. We're not in Saturday yet. It's Saturday. Will be 10 minutes time. But what are your thoughts? Do you think City could potentially use all of this information with the Infantino case in the CAS appeal?
I agree with 100% what Tom said, though, because it's like, I think if City do go down, they do get this 2-year ban, a lot of clubs are going to go as well, because there's PSG who are, and we all know this, the person who owns PSG is on the board of UEFA, and he's taking money out of UEFA and putting it into PSG. The owner of Liverpool paid the FA to get away with the hack and stuff. We all know this. And it's with City, it's like, you're getting the backlash because you're not, no offence to City, but you're not you are now, you're a world-class club now, but you've only just gotten on the level of Liverpool, United, PSG. Well, not PSG,
that's a fair comment.
Yeah. And UEFA don't like that. They don't like the fact that everything's changing financially and you're becoming the powerhouse of world football. So they're doing this. They're making all this bullshit up to punish City. It's the same with us. Obviously, we're not successful. We're shit. But the Premier League and the FA have constantly financial fair play into this. And it's the same as just finding reasons to ban you. And I think you'll go to court and you'll get away with it. And it will end up.
Don't say that. Don't use that terminology. We'll go to court and get away with it.
Yeah,
the point is we'll go to court and we'll prove that UEFA is absolutely corrupt as anything. But go on, Martin. Go on.
Sorry, no, just quick. Exactly what Carl has just said and what Tom just said. I don't think no matter what we do here, we are ever going to be shown as that City are right. Because if you look at that Monday vlog you did, the first thing, I think it was Diesel, turned around and went, well, you've got the best lawyers in the world. You'll pay to get out of this. So no matter what we do here, we're going to be told we bought our way out of this. So City will never be seen as innocent.
Yeah, they are. They will. They will. I promise you they will.
But all opposition saying you're going to buy your way out of it.
But
nobody's seen anything.
But the fact is, we have got the best lawyers in the world, and we will buy the best lawyers in the world. That's fact. You can't argue against that. You can't say, "Oh but you've bought the 10 best out of 1,000 lawyers in the world," and blah blah blah. We are going to buy the best lawyers in the world because that's how much money we can invest in it to get the best legal advice to show and prove, which is the point, that UEFA and the whole concept of FFP, not just as a formula, but the fact of how UEFA have actually manipulated it to make sure that the cartels, and we can't join that cartel group, and that's going to be the thing. It's irrelevant of how much money we spend on solicitors and lawyers and things like that, because if you're not going to buy the best, you're not going to get the best, are you? It's that simple.
I'm just saying, no matter what, I don't think, for your point exactly, Andy, the media and opposition fans will just say that. They'll never take
But the thing is that, in 20 years' time, you'll still get the empty seats argument. Are you really that bothered? Are you really that bothered? If you're innocent, trophies.
No, I accept that. It was just from Tom's comment when he said, and Carl, you'll just prove everyone wrong. City are in a no-win situation. We have to do it for ourselves, not what anybody else thinks.
Absolutely.
Screw anyone else thinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everybody's gone against us. Like, you did that thing the other night, Andy, and nobody knew why we were getting put down. Nobody knew the reason. So everybody just wants to see us fail. Everybody wants to see us get proved wrong at court, which is what I'm saying is we will prove everybody that's trying to put something against our name and prove when we go to court that we haven't done anything wrong.
Well, we might win the case. Whether that'll change opinion is another thing in the future. I'm going to quickly go back to Alan, and then we're going to move on to the next question.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. Clubs like Everton, who have got now a world-class manager, a new owner that wants to invest in their own business. The only way that Everton, the Newcastles with their new owners, hopefully, and Wolves and Sheffield United, the people have got rich owners. The only way they are going to challenge City, Liverpool, United, etc., and Arsenal is if they invest in their own business. There's no way they can organically grow to reach that level. I don't care. Not
in 10 years. They can't do that.
Exactly. The only way they're going to grow is by investment into their own business, and we have a competitive Premier League. Let's look at Spain. Their league's not competitive. Now there's Germany. There's only 2 teams in Germany. The rest are beyond average. So to me,
it's very similar to Germany.
I want to see the Evertons, the Newcastle, push us to make us better. And if we don't perform, they beat us. That's fair. That's what the Premier League's all about. And to me, why can you stop that? You cannot stop competitive football and have teams who have got ambition. You can't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's interesting because we've got somebody on the channel who's going to do the next question. And this obviously is Ryan, because Ryan just made a comment there going, well, it is quite similar, talking about the Premier League and the Bundesliga. Ryan follows the Bundesliga quite intensely. And Ryan, you're going to ask the next question on this,
Well,
following on from the first question. So, what is your question to the guests tonight on the Friday Night Social, part 3?
Before I do that, just off that last point on like with the Bundesliga, they have it's called a 50+1 rule.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what like Leipzig have essentially, who is the new challenger in Germany and has changed a lot of people's like heads on how to run a club in Germany and like the ownerships and stuff. They circumvented that rule essentially by selling all the shares or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure on it, but they have all the people that own the stuff that you need to have for it to be like eligible. That's all owned by people that work for the greater organization of Red Bull. So that's how they circumvent that rule in Germany. And
they're
I
hated
think what
like we are.
Oh, they're absolutely despised in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
But like
Big time.
most of Red Bull are, even though Red Bull are doing quite a lot that's really good for football. Like you've got the new emergence in Germany. Salzburg bring through so much talent from Africa that otherwise just wouldn't be like found really. Like Naby Keita, Salah. I'm not sure if Salah came through. No, Salah didn't come through. That was Mane. Haaland's the most recent.
But we're not on a discussion about German football. But it's your question about the Bundesliga. What is your question?
So the last game of football I watched was FC Köln versus Mönchengladbach. That was the 11th of the 3rd, so just over 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
And so that was the last game that was played in Germany, and obviously Germany's returning tomorrow. So I'll be watching 6 games this weekend. So I was wondering how everyone on here, obviously, I know Andy won't be watching anything, but how much of it are you really going to follow over in Germany?
Right, okay. And actually, what I will say to you is I've been an advocate of, I'm certainly not going to watch any games for Man City behind closed doors. Absolutely not. I will watch, and I'll try and watch one of the Schalke, Dortmund, or the Bayern game. I will try it at some point to
Well, it's Schalke Dortmund tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock. I might try. I won't sit down and watch the game. I will just nip in, turn it on, and just have 10 minutes of what is the game like to get the atmosphere and things like that, and what does it feel like. I am definitely not going to sit down and watch the football. And
You're not going to watch Köln with me?
I know, I'm not. And if Man City are playing tomorrow at 2 o'clock behind closed doors, I definitely will not be watching it. I definitely will not be putting my support behind playing behind closed doors, because it should only return, in my opinion, with fans in the stadium. So, but interesting. Your question is, will you be watching German football tomorrow? That starts, as we know, that is the first game, isn't it? It's Schalke versus Dortmund.
Yeah, you have 5 games tomorrow at that time, and then
go on quickly run through the games then, just in case anybody watching. Which will probably they'll probably all a bit. Probably when they're watching this video, everyone's already seen it or not. But what are the quick games? Run through them.
So you got Hoffenheim, Hertha Berlin, Augsburg versus Wolfsburg, Dortmund, Schalke, which is the big game. I'll be watching that.
Yeah.
Dusseldorf versus Paderborn, Leipzig versus Freiburg, which I'll also be watching at the same time. Frankfurt, Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
And then Sunday you've got FC Köln versus Mainz, which I'll watch. Union Berlin, Bayern, which I'll watch. And then on Monday, Werder Bremen versus Bayer Leverkusen.
Right. Okay. I mean, I must admit, just running through though, even I don't really watch. I'll watch a little bit every now and then of German football. There's only the Schalke Dortmund game that even registers as any type of appeal to watch it anyway. But I'll only be watching that one because it's the first one. But guys, Chris, will you be watching any of the Bundesliga this weekend?
Nicht.
Simple. Okay. So why, very briefly, because we're coming towards the end of this part, very briefly, why won't you be watching it?
Well, I've never watched it, Andy, to be honest with you. I'm not... that as far as I'm concerned, right, yeah, football's done this season. And the Bundesliga, I know Ryan has got a team and anything, but I've never followed it. So I've got no reason to watch it. But no, I won't be watching it, mate.
Okay.
You know, I'm not missing football that I need to start watching teams I've never watched before.
Okay, fair enough. Tom?
I'll certainly be watching it. I can't wait for it to come back. Really looking forward to it, especially as I got the opportunity to go and watch City out in Germany not last season, season before against Hoffenheim. So I'll be watching Hoffenheim, hoping they're doing well. And also I'll be watching Fortuna Dusseldorf, which is Uwe Rosler's team. Uwe Rosler is the manager of Fortuna Dusseldorf. So I will be watching both of those games, simply because I did take quite a decent interest into the Bundesliga before it got closed, cancelled or not cancelled, postponed. And yeah, so I can't wait for it to come back.
Okay, all right. So we've had Ryan all interested in it. We've got Tom very interested in it. Carl, will you be watching German football tomorrow?
Yeah, but only the Schalke match because of John Joe Kenny. Because John Joe Kenny's on loan at Schalke, he's really grew as a player. And also we've got a transfer target from Schalke called John Claire Tabido. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. And he's supposed to be a big prospect, and apparently we're signing him. So I'm just gonna watch and kind of scout the two players and see how they've been.
Well, I heard John Joe on Talk Sport this morning because they had Radcliffe and a few others, and it was about Everton this morning. So I guess you missed that. So John Joe Kenny, you're going to solely watch it from an Everton interest, or if there was no interest in it, would you still watch it? Yes or no?
No.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough. Okay, that's fair enough. Martin?
No interest. I miss football, but I'm not interested in watching something that's been forced upon people. And I think that's what it's been. No interest in it whatsoever. I can't even get excited of it, especially after today's news with the infection rate going up again. I just haven't got there's nothing about it I'm even interested in. And if I did watch it, I'd feel like I'm going against all my own principles. That's just my view.
Okay. Alan?
No, and probably the reason for that is the time that it's on over in Australia. It's 3, 4, and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's hard enough. I don't miss City games. It's hard enough getting up at that time as it is. But I've no interest in Bayern Munich in any way because I hold them partly responsible for the trouble that we're in. So I won't watch Bayern Munich. And I'll watch the highlights if it's on Optus TV, which is what it's on over here, all the football. I might watch highlights and goals that go in, but I've got zero interest in considering what's going on. It's going to be hard because the AFL's coming back over here on the 11th of June. And seriously, that is torture watching that game compared to our football. And so it's hard because that is the only sporting thing we can do in the winter in Australia.
Aussie rules.
Oh, mate, it's awful.
I love Aussie rules.
Oh,
I love it.
I don't understand the rule.
Mate,
Essendon. And I love watching Aussie rules. It's proper.
You get points for missing. How can you get points for missing? It's ridiculous.
Do you not get points for punching people in the face?
See, we'd be great at that. The amount of chances we miss, we'd be great if you get points for missing.
Yeah, we'd be top of the league for that one.
Hey,
seriously.
It's Essendon Bombers, isn't it? Essendon Bombers.
Essendon Bombers. It's like watching aerial ping pong. It's like watching.
I loved it.
You know when you get pigeon.
I feel like this is how Andy feels when me and Martin talk about wrestling.
They all gather around the sea.
Yeah.
Seriously, mate, it's awful. It's awful.
It's proper scrapping. I love it. Absolutely love it.
That's called
it's like rugby union without any rules. It's like it's brilliant. It's just like I love it. Absolutely love it.
It's called 10 years inside for a
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I absolutely when I was living out there, I absolutely loved it to bits. It was brilliant. But anyway, right, okay. Gaelic football, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I'm into that as well. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to one final question in part 3. Are we on? I think we are at the moment. And I'm going to come to Chris for this one, because we're going to just take it slightly away from football. And we're going to have a quick round robin. Now, I do understand that some of the people on the vlog are the younger members, but they might still follow this particular sport. So, Chris, over to you. What is your question?
Well, mine's a boxing question. I know Cal's a boxing fan. I know Tom is. I know that Martin is. And I'm pretty sure you and Alan are. It's just right. I'm not sure over here. So I just watched that other kind of stuff in the ring. But so what is your favourite ever boxing match that you've seen?
Wow. Okay. Well, I think first off, I'm going to quickly go around the room and just go, have you got an answer? Because there might be some people who go, I don't watch boxing. And that's perfectly fine. That's no problem whatsoever. But what I don't want is, I don't watch boxing, but I can tell you a WWE. No, I'm not interested in WWE. So, Alan, I know that you will have one. Tom, do you watch boxing?
Oh yeah, a massive.
Well, I know your question from last. Somebody's. I think you might have said something last week. Martin, I know you do. Well, sort of. The Canadian Lennox Lewis from last week.
He was born in West Ham, you know.
Yeah, but he's Canadian.
Oh God.
Ryan, do you follow boxing?
I have an answer. Not at all. I have an answer there.
Right, that's fine. Cal, do you follow boxing?
Yeah. Every weekend.
All right, so Cal is a scouser. They all follow boxing, don't they? On Merseyside. So right, okay. So best fight ever, and we're going to keep this very brief. I'm going to give you a minute, no more, and that is what fight and why. So Alan, you are very keen, so go on.
Yeah, I would say Marvin Hagler v Thomas Hearns. Middleweight World Championship fight. If anyone's not seen that first round, then you're mad. Go and watch it on YouTube.
You just took my answer away.
Unbelievable. That
it is. You don't need to ask anymore. You don't need to ask anymore, Andy. That's the perfect answer.
Well, he's took my fight away anyway. But it wasn't just the first. It wasn't just the first round.
Every round.
Even the other rounds were like amazing. Oh God, Jesus Christ! And listen, for everybody, I know the older school people who follow boxing and things with that. If you've never seen in the 80s, if you've never seen the 4 main protagonists, we're talking about Tommy Hearns, we're talking about Marvin Hagler, we're talking about Roberto Duran, and we're talking about Sugar Ray Leonard. The greatest era of boxing ever. And these guys fought each other on, some of them, numerous occasions. And they were toe to toe for as long as it lasted. It was, and that one that Alan's just said there, the Hagler Hearns was
1985.
Phenomenal.
It was
phenomenal. I can remember I've been a fan of that era all my life. It's just phenomenal. Okay, right. I'm gonna have to think of something else there. Well, if I can think of something else, Tom, come on then.
Taking it back 5 years into Germany, November the 27th, 2015. Vladimir Klitschko versus Tyson Fury. as you know, I'm quite a big Fury fan, and
Yeah.
he went out to Dusseldorf and he beat him on unanimous decision and took all the belts away from Klitschko after keeping them for 10 years, which was the second longest reign in heavyweight history. And yeah, it was a brilliant night. It nearly didn't happen because when you read his Tyson Fury's autobiography, they've never done this before, but they knew something was a little bit dodgy, so they went to check the ring the night before, and they realised there was 6 millimeters of extra foam underneath the canvas, which is like fighting in sand. So Fury said, "We can get a flight home tonight, and we're not fighting if that doesn't get removed." So it nearly didn't go ahead. So if Fury didn't go the night before to check, he'd have probably said he probably would have just walked away then and there. So yeah, and how he did it, he fought him, and Klitschko was a powerhouse in that sort of when he was just coming to the end of his career, but he was still a powerhouse. And to go over to Germany and beat him was just incredible. So yeah, that fight for me.
Okay, Martin. Lennox Lewis.
No, the first I remember. No, it involved an Englishman. Was Frank Bruno and Mike Tyson. That to me was
Bruno
the
shot
first
himself.
that was the first biggest boxing match I remember.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's unfortunately with the state Bruno's in at the moment, which but Mike Tyson was one of those phenomenons that you needed to watch him to understand. And when he got in, he just killed him. He absolutely killed him.
And that particular fight, because I watched that fight. So
I watched it as well.
I'm a massive boxing fan. Bruno hit him with a punch, and prior to that, you'd never seen Tyson wobble. And Bruno hit him with one punch, and he wobbled, and we were like, "Oh my God, he's going to beat him!" But he didn't. He absolutely took his head off.
There was that
He
one.
didn't back it up, did he?
There was the Collins Chris Eubank fight, which was amazing as well.
Yeah.
Because I hated Eubank for the cockiness, for the arrogance, for the posing and all this, with his gloves, thinking he was some sort of. I hated Chris Eubank. I don't know, and I just wanted him to get knocked out.
Good boxer, though.
Very
good boxer.
Arrogant. He was like the Man United of boxing at the time. He was just like, I hate you.
Okay, Ryan.
Well, I have watched a whopping 2 boxing matches in my entire life that were actual real ones that didn't involve stupid YouTubers. So one of them was because it was the only thing. Well, it just came on after whatever I was watching. This is was Chris Eubank Jr. versus Nick Blackwell, which was the one where he put Nick Blackwell in an induced coma. So that wasn't exactly great. And the only other one, just to make Andy happy, is Butterbean.
Oh, the big guy with the bald head, the knockout
versus Bart Gunn at WrestleMania XV, because he was in WWE after the Brawl for All, and he absolutely put Bart Gunn on his arse because he had no boxing ability, and Vince did not account for that, and it was hilarious.
Brian, you don't know him. What's all his Vince business? Like you've got him on.
I
know.
Oh, sorry, Mr. McMahon. Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
You talk about him like he's your best mate, and you have a chat with him every week.
Vince is my good pal, I'll have you know.
Right, we're gonna. Right, we're going to Cal. Cal, you're a bit of a boxing aficionado.
Yeah.
I know you're only young, but give us your thoughts on the best fight you've ever seen.
I have 2, because these are on quality. The first one was Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya, because that was when Mayweather kind of like Mayweather put himself out there as I'm the new money man, and ain't no one beating me. And the way he just outclassed Oscar De La Hoya was incredible. The second was on the September 15, 2018. Was a rematch because we drew. It was Canelo Alvarez, who's my favourite boxer ever, versus Gennady Golovkin. And it was
tough as shit. Absolutely.
And it was the way Canelo it would hit everything out of Golovkin. Golovkin didn't even move, and then Golovkin would do the same to Canelo. Canelo didn't move. It was just And it was the boxing masterclass, the world-class fight.
Yeah, brilliant fights. I mean, well, I would have gone for the best. Because for me, from a boxing perspective, it was all surrounding that era, the 80s. It was about those 4 boxers. It was, and I implore anybody who's not watched boxing, just go. You can find them on YouTube. I'm not sure you can find all the fights, but you had Marvin Hagler, Marvelous Marvin. You had Sugar Ray Leonard, who was just a dream boy of a floating. But you think of Rocky films. You think of Apollo Creed. That's what he was like. He just floated around. You had Marvin Hagler, who was just like, he was a bull. He never took a step back. He would not, don't matter how many times you hit him, take a step back. You had Roberto Duran, the hands of stone, and he was just like this, was it Panamanian? I think he was Panamanian, just beast. And then you had Tommy Hearns, who was this massive giant, dead slim, but could flick a jab out as quick as you could see it. I mean, it was. You had this 4 of them that just boxed each other over and over and over again, and that hurt. If you're looking at the best moment, one round, that Hearns versus Hagler, you will never ever in your life ever, and I promise you, till the day you die, see another boxing first round ever like that again, because there was not a step taken backwards, and there was not 2 seconds without a punch. It was just phenomenal. So that was mine. I mean, I could go on Hearns versus Hagler, and I could go the no mass with the Roberto Duran and everything else, where Hearns retired him and whatever else. But if I had to pick something else, I would go for the Ricky Hatton versus Costa Tszyu fight. It was Costa Tszyu was an absolute world-class fighter at the time, and Ricky Hatton was just all heart. It was like full on, with 20,000 sort of City fans and everything else cheering him on, and just phenomenal. Chris, go on. We're going to finish on Chris, because Chris asked the question. We've all had the chance to answer it. Chris, go on, finish on this one.
I'm really glad you brought Ricky Hatton into this, obviously being a massive blue. But my favourite fight of all time is Hagler and Hearns. Hagler is my favourite boxer of all time. You young'uns out there, if you've not watched Hagler and Hearns, please go and watch it, because it is an amazing fight. But another fight, if you can ever get to watch it, is Ricky Hatton against John Thaxton, which I think was for the British title. Yeah. And Ricky at the time suffered quite badly with cuts. Yeah. It is an amazing fight, and how Ricky Hatton got through that, I will never know. A true warrior, Ricky Hatton.
Somebody else mentioned Canelo. Who mentioned Canelo?
Cal.
Canelo. I'm sure Canelo fought Ricky Hatton's brother. I'm sure Canelo. Did he? Was it Canelo who fought Ricky Hatton's brother in the early days? Was it not?
I don't think it's.
Well, go back to a fight with Ricky Hatton's brother versus. It might not have been Canelo. It might have been somebody else, and that was a great fight. He got absolutely wasted, but he put up the most amazing performance against.
Yeah, he did. Matthew Hatton versus Canelo Alvarez.
I thought it was Matthew Hatton. Go back and watch that fight. Matthew Hatton versus Canelo. And Canelo destroyed him, and yet he would not go down. He was like Ricky Hatton, except for Ricky Hatton did go down on a few occasions. But you watch that fight, mate. He battered him to pieces. But Matthew Hatton, phenomenal.
He could throw it at him and he wouldn't go down. Yeah. He refused. I've seen that because you see his legs wobble. And the commentator goes, "It's over," and then he just
he won't go down. Yeah, he won't go down.
It was insane.
Brilliant question to end part 3 of the Friday Night Social. I implore you, and again, Chris, a brilliant question going off football. Go back, please. It's on YouTube, and you will never, ever, ever, and I promise you, if you haven't seen it, and I'm sure most older people, you will never see a first round like that till the day you die, ever again. It will never happen. I promise you, it will never happen. Tommy Hearns versus Marvellous Marvin Hagler. Unbelievable. To even think they could both come out for round 2. The amount of effort and energy they put into that round 1, it was phenomenal. But anyway, brilliant question and a wonderful question to end the part 3 of the Friday Night Social. So anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that bell icon, follow us for part 4, because what we're going to do in part 4, which will be coming out very soon, is we're going to finish with the other few questions on the golden question on the Friday Night Social. But take care. We'll see you soon.